Thank you, Brendan. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the Building and Maintenance Subcommittee of the Springfield School Committee. Madam Clerk, if you could just call the roll.
Sure. Chris Collins?
Here.
Peter Murphy?
It looks like Peter down in the bottom corner.
Is that his home number?
Is that Garvey?
That's a
That might be Peter
787.
Garvey.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
guessing that's Peter Garvey.
Garvey. That's City Hall. Okay,
Yeah.
Peter Murphy, no response yet. Maria Perez.
Present.
It is Peter Garvey, okay. So we will wait just we'll give Peter another minute, and then we have a quorum, so we'll go forward after a minute. So we'll wait, we'll go in kind of like a recess for 1 minute, please. We were just getting a reminder that it works best if when you are not speaking, if you mute your microphone, and that way you don't get a lot of extra noise. And it's been about a minute, so I think we will continue. We'll go on with the meeting, and hopefully Peter will join us, be able to join us at some point. Meeting today, and Terry, I don't have the agenda right in front of me. I should have printed it. I didn't. Is it one item or two item? Didn't we list it as one? Oh, it's two. Okay.
It's 2 items.
So would you read the first item?
Sure. The first item is vote to recommend to the full school committee that it approve the schematic design submittal for the DeBerry-Homer Elementary School project, and vote to approve and authorize the project team to submit the schematic design related submittals to the MSBA for consideration.
Okay, so before we take a vote, we'll have discussion on that. Mr. Superintendent, do you want to start off?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to frame it. Donna from Danisco is going to present the schematic design. Do you have a PowerPoint, Donna, that you're going to present? So she was going to present the PowerPoint and then open it up for questions.
Hi, everyone. Teresa, someone's going to share this screen?
He's sharing the screen with you, and then you pull up your PowerPoint.
And it should become the screen when you do that.
Exactly.
Do I just click on it?
Okay.
Just open your PowerPoint, yeah.
There you go. Is that good? Can everyone see it?
Did you share your screen? Hit the.
Oh, wait, I got to click share.
There we go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
I thought I knew what I was doing. All
That's
right.
okay.
You do.
All right, so now I'm going to be looking at the screen, but anyway, thank you, everyone. We're sorry we can't be there in person, but we're happy to be here, and it seems like everyone really hasn't missed too much of a beat. MSBA is moving forward. Actually, I'm trying to see how to move it's not liking me to. Let's see if this works. Yeah. MSBA is also not missing a beat. Their submission is still scheduled for May 6th, and they're all working as well remotely, but they're on schedule to continue the review of the schematic design and then the board meetings in June. So today, what we'd like to do is just give you a final review of where we are before we submit to MSBA on May 6th. Not much has changed. We just want to bring everyone up to speed. We've made some refinements, and we'll continue to do that once we get into design development. But just a quick refresher, this is the DeBerry School site. We have Union Street to the south, Hancock to the west, Monroe to the north, and then Eastern Ave is to the east. The existing school with the parking and the park, and we have St. John's Church to the west, and we have some residents in between the church and the existing school. And also noting that we have quite a few residences on the southern side of Union Street. Currently, the traffic configuration is we have Union Street as one way, goes down to Hancock, which is two-way, comes around to Monroe, which is two-way, and then Eastern Ave, which is two-way. We understand the streets are quite narrow, so we were looking at ways to improve the traffic flow given the fact that we're going to have an additional 400 students coming to the site. So working with DPW, school department, facilities department, it was determined the best solution was to convert Monroe into a one-way street. We have maintained the 24-foot width on Monroe, but we're going to take a portion of the property line and create a cutout for parent drop-off. So parents will be dropping off along Monroe Street. They'll be able to pull in off the street to allow two rows of traffic to pass by them while they're dropping off their students. We're continuing to study both intersections on Eastern Ave, both at Union and Monroe Street, and actually a little bit further down to ensure the safety for safe routes to school and walking, and we'll continue to refine those areas. Eastern Ave will remain one way, and then again, Union Street will remain one way. What we're doing on Union Street is the buses will be dropping off along Union. So we have clear separation of parent and bus drop-off. Similar to the parent, but more defined, is we're going to have a bus drop-off area along Union Street. So we'll be able to get the buses off the road, continue to allow traffic to pass by while the buses are loading and unloading the students. We'll also have a couple of handicap parking spaces within the bus drop-off loop area, along with some visitor parking. So this can be controlled, the visitor parking, whether you want anyone there during drop-off or pickup. It could be, before or after those hours. What you don't see here is there's another drop-off. Once the existing school is demolished and completed, we'll have another drop-off to the west of the school where we'll have for special ed vans or buses. So these students, recognizing they take more time for loading and unloading, they will not be rushed or in the way of all the other activities during drop-off and pickup. And as you can see how close we are to the existing school. So Fontaine Brothers is the CM, and we've already started talking about how we're going to integrate the construction with the existing school, what measures are going to need to be taken for clear separation of the existing staff and students while we construct the school. Once the building is complete, the students will move over both from Homer and DeBerry. We'll demolish the existing DeBerry school and then complete the parking lot for approximately 150 cars. There was some discussion about access through the parking lot, people that should maybe be parking there during non-school hours. So right now we have gates both at Monroe and on Union Ave. We have two here, and we'll continue to refine when they're used, how they're used, and who has access. But we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to close off the parking lot during desired times. Oh, and let me just go. We have multiple play areas, sorry. We have play areas separated for both, for DeBerry and Homer School. They'll be about the same size, but different shapes. There'll be the appropriate play structures as well as just a hard top for the kids to play on. We also have a separate area for the pre-K students on both sides as well. All the playgrounds will be fenced and taken care of. We also have raised beds for gardening as well along here for both sides as well. We'll have 2 drop-offs for parent drop-off along Monroe. So the students going to Homer will enter through this door. Students going to DeBerry will enter through this door. And similarly, off of Union, buses that are dropping off for Homer will use this entrance, and DeBerry will be using a separate entrance. So we'll have clear separation of buildings so they can maintain their own identities. The first floor plan, or all the floors actually, are very similar in nature on both sides. We will have pre-K and kindergarten on the first floor. Each grade, including pre-K, is 3 classrooms for each grade. So we've clustered the classrooms per grade with a project area outside for small group instruction, project-based learning, maker spaces, given the appropriateness for each of the grades. The pre-K classrooms are slightly different in that they will have cubbies inside the classrooms, but they'll still have an opportunity to use a project area outside. Kindergarten and pre-K all have individual toilets in the classrooms as well. And this is the same for both Homer and the DeBerry side. We have pre-K to the north here, and to the south we have the kindergarten along the DeBerry side. We have provided for nice space for the low incidence programs. Homer will have the PLC program. We have a quiet room attached and a conference room. And then we also have other special education spaces integrated throughout the floor plans. Along the DeBerry side, we have the SEBS program, and there's 1 classroom for that on each floor, again with a quiet room, and then other specialized or small group instruction for special ed integrated into the classrooms. The core area, similar to Brightwood and Lincoln, is the shared area. We have main entries. The green is our general office. So visitors will be buzzed in to the first vestibule, check for their credentials. If they're okay, then they are buzzed in to enter into the lobbies. This would be on both sides. This is the DeBerry double vestibule, and this is the Homer double vestibule. And they'll be able to enter in. We have separate, we can, I hate to say the word lockdown. We have doors that will close off the academic wing for for use off school hours. So if they're coming in to use the cafeteria or the gym, they'll only have access to those spaces. The cafeteria is going to be on the south. We'll have beautiful, well-lit cafeteria. We'll have this acoustic wall that will be able to be retracted when it's being used for a performance or an assembly, but it will be maintained and closed during cafeterias. So Homer will have 1 cafeteria with its own entry for serving, as would DeBerry. They'll have the exact same setup. They'll have their own separate servery area. So they'll have 1 door to enter and a door to exit. They'll have the shared kitchen area. And then the platform will be shared between the 2, and we'll actually be able to accommodate almost probably 800 students as long as their butts are on the floor. So as long as it's coordinated, they'll be able to utilize the entire cafeteria. We have the gymnasium off of Monroe Street, and as you'll see that we actually rotated the gym, and this really just provided a lot of relief to the sidewalk and the facing neighbors. So this just brings the building off the street significantly. We'll have PE office, PE storage, And again, we'll have a partition so both Homer and DeBerry can be having gym classes simultaneously. On the second floor, the organization is very similar. We have first grade clustered in 3 classrooms, second grade on both sides. The dark purple are our special ed and mental health offices and suites with the classrooms or program spaces integrated into the classroom areas. The art rooms are shared in the core common area along with the media center, and a music room is flanked on either side. The third floor is strictly academic. Again, we have 3 grades, 3 classrooms per grade with the project areas. And then in the middle, in the core, what we have is MSBA has finally recognized that the STE or Science Tech Engineering program is really important. So we are able to have 2 additional classrooms or 1 classroom per school for science, tech, and engineering. And we've created these little areas outside that look like corridor space, but these will provide opportunities for additional project-based learning, maker spaces that will be able to utilize the STE classrooms. We have a lit library, 1 for each school, with a movable acoustic partition that in the future, for flexibility, if you want to be able to have a lot of professional development occur in this space, that you can easily move that wall and utilize it for a larger professional development opportunities. And then this is the roof plan, not very sexy, but what we're showing here is how we really tried to condense all of the equipment on the roof to allow as much roof area for future solar panels. And we have a solar study completed, which also helped identify where we should locate the equipment so that you could maximize from the sun. Here are some preliminary massing models that we've done. The material is very similar to that of Brightwood and Lincoln. Hard, durable material. We'll have concrete block on the first floor. We'll be utilizing a lot of brick. This is the south-facing view, so we have sunshades that we'll be using to mitigate the sun from the south, but also allowing all of the natural light. As you can see, this is Union Street. That will be the bus drop-off with the visitor parking and handicap parking. We have met several times with our SEPDED safety consultant, so we've gone through making sure that we have the necessary bollards and barriers to prevent any errant traffic into the building. But you can see we've started to create some nice gathering spaces for students and families to come in. And we've tried to really pronounce the entries of both schools. This is the Monroe side, and a little different. You don't see the sunshades. We'll be facing north, but again, a very similar pattern to that on the Union Street side. And this is the, as you can see, a cutout here for the parent drop-off area. This is just a cluster, a diagram of how the classrooms are going to be organized. We'll have the 3 classrooms with the project area outside of each classroom. This is the pre-K, so you'll see the cubbies in the classrooms, but other than that, it's a really open and flexible plan, so it allows for the multiple activities that occur. We did just change out in Brightwood. Originally, we were using interactive projectors, and the school department has shifted to using these Promethean, if I'm saying that correctly, interactive flat panels. So we'll also be using those in these classrooms as well. We'll have the other technology enhancements such as the speech reinforcement, microphones for the staff as well. The other difference here is that we will be having 2 sinks in every classroom per MSBA's new requirements. We'll also have a sliding marker boards that will have the shelving behind it. So it provides more storage for the staff while also using the space for educational purposes. And then this is looking back into the corridor. They'll have the toilet room, the cubbies, and then out to the project areas. And then we have the 2 sinks. One's a deep sink for activities, and the shallow sink is an ADA regulation size sink. All the furniture is flexible for flexibility in the classroom and small group instruction. Kindergarten is very similar. The difference is that we actually have lockers out in the project area. The project area is a little bit larger, but it even allows more flexibility within the classrooms for small group instruction and the multiple activities that occur. And then again, a very similar view, similar setup and arrangement inside the classroom, as flexible as possible. The one thing is, I do want to point out, all the classrooms will be having the teacher desk built in to the side. They felt that that was a better use of floor space. They wanted to get out of the way. They don't sit at their desk during the school day, so that this opened up even more opportunities for small group instruction and flexibility within the classroom. Just another view looking out to the project area. And then all grades 1 through 5, very similar in nature, just a little bit smaller than kindergarten. They're all about 900 square feet, completely interchangeable for flexibility in the future. Again, arranged 3 classrooms per grade in a cluster with a shared project area. And this is a view looking out. This will be on the 2nd and 3rd floors. And then this is the project area with storage up above the lockers to provide additional storage, and a whiteboard here for small group instruction. This is a corridor view, and we've started to talk about colors and patterns and materials in the corridors, which we want to maintain durability for cleanliness and operations, but we also wanted to give it some color. So the current thought right now is that we'll have one color for one school and one color for the other school, so that they can remain independent of each other. These lockers are the overflow lockers should the class size get large enough that you require these. And then we'll have tack surfaces as well to highlight any work that's going on in each of the grades. This is the cafetorium, and this is with the acoustic panel open. And you can see we've just tried to identify different colors by the tables. But if it was closed and it wasn't for, if it was closed and used for lunch, we'll show that in a sec, but you can see that we have the stage at one end with vast windows along the edge, along with a nice bench for sitting. And then looking back the other way, here's, you know, the acoustic partition can be tucked in to the wall when it's being used for assembly, and it will be open when it's being used for cafeteria. And then we have these nice barn doors, and then another door for flow of students on each side. The media center, we were able to organize the building in such a way that we were actually able to have a portion of the media center to have double height to maximize all of the natural light and the special feeling that we were trying to achieve within the media center. We started working with, I want to say Dave, I want to say it's Dave, it's not, Dinkley, am I saying that correctly? Who's the library media specialist?
Brian Dickey.
Dickey, thank you. And so we'll continue to work with him when we all get permission to start getting together and going to look at other schools and looking at the different specialized spaces for media centers. So we're not asking for a vote today on the proprietary items. We're going to take a little more time to evaluate, make sure that we have all the proprietary items that we want. There have been a couple of changes since we submitted on Brightwood. Right now, this is the proposed list, and we'll refine it during design development, and we'll be asking for a vote of the school committee before we submit our design development submission to MSBA. And then our timeline again is that we'll be submitting to MSBA May 6th. We'll be designing through July of 2021 with 2 years of construction, and 2023 will be here before we know it. And that's pretty much it. So I can turn this back over to someone else.
Yeah, thanks, Donna. Any questions for Donna? Great presentation.
Anybody have any questions for Donna?
I just have a question, Chris. When
Sure.
it comes to, it looks like the same pattern as Brightwood and Lincoln. One of the things that I just want to ask, will the community have access just to have the events at the school once the school is built?
Yeah, the same as Brightwood and Lincoln. There'll be community access. That's why we put those centers like the cafeteria and the gym that get the heavy permits on the first floor, and the lock-off areas around it, so that would provide access to the community, because I'm sure it'll be heavily permitted, just like Brightwood and Lincoln.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are we going back to I think we can remove the floor plan. Thank you. If there's no further questions, then Maria, I guess since I see Peter Garvey got it in, but I don't see Peter. Do you want to make the motion to vote to recommend to the full school committee that it approve schematic design submittal for DeBerry Homer school project, and vote to approve and authorize project team to submit that schematic design related submittals to the MSBA? Maria, unmute.
Or you gotta unmute.
Yes, I entertain the motion that we approve the schematics design for the DeBerry and Homer School Elementary School. And vote to authorize, what was the other part? I don't have the agenda in front of me, please.
To authorize the team to submit the schematic design and related submittals to MSBA.
As well.
Can I just offer something as a point of order,
Sure.
Chair? You might, to avoid a second vote, should there be any either BS, the Building School Authority, or DESE change in the schematic due to coronavirus related issues, perhaps you could do your vote subject to any mandated changes, and then that would have to be done. That would perhaps not be broad enough so that you don't have to come back for another vote. And I'm not sure if that's helpful or not, but I put it out there just for your consideration.
Donna, has the SBA been doing anything about making adjustments due to this current pandemic?
They have issued a few memos, but basically what they're more focused on the cost of projects and the impact on time or cost to the projects, but they have not said anything from a programmatic shift in what we're proposing.
Yeah, and the only concern I had is that should something be mandated, that you have to redesign something, just to make sure that the school committee has approved you to do that, should it be so mandated. But the school committee, you all in the subcommittee may want her to come back with those specific changes. So again, I put it to the decision.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe for the public's interest, if there are changes that they might want to view them. So I think I'd like to have us bring that, if they do make changes, then we bring it back again. I'm sure they'll give us time for a vote if they do that.
So then this vote would be subject to the presentation that was made today for today's subcommittee, and the materials that would be part of the public record.
Yes, if I could just add, this is reflective of MSBA's current and DESE's current guidelines.
Great.
Hey,
I will second that. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, the second item is a vote to recommend to the full school committee that it approve a request to accept care and management and control of the north side Walnut Street, 11952 through 0120, and the rear side 636 Union Street, 11750-0151 from the tax title custodian. I'm assuming Peter
Yeah.
will probably give us more information on that?
Well, that
Matt
one's-
Roach, that'll take the lead on that.
Okay,
So the city had two tax title properties. They were vacant lots in the city. And one of them actually is already part of the Brookings campus. So that's, kind of some housekeeping thing that we never voted on in the past. And the city just realized it in its records. It's a piece of the parking lot right now. And then there's a second lot that's right adjacent to the DeBerry property. So the DeBerry schematic that you just saw, this would be an additional empty building lot that would combine onto that campus and give us room to push snow off of the parking lots.
any questions? Hearing none, then a vote to recommend to the full school committee that approve the request to accept care, management, and control of the north side of Walnut Street, 11952-0120, and the rear side of 656 Union, 11750-0151 from the tax title custodian is in order. Maria, are you making that motion?
Yes.
I will
Aye.
second. All those in favor? Aye. Maria,
Yes.
are you in favor?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Those being the only two items on the agenda, we will, motion to adjourn would be in order, and these will come up at the next school committee meeting, which is the 30th.
Those will be on the agenda on the 30th, so we'll be in time for the 6th for the submittal to MSBA.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So Maria, are you making a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, public, and for everybody who joined in case there were questions. Thank you for being here.